Arjun's morning began the same way it always did, with the sharp, insistent ringing of his alarm clock echoing across his messy bedroom. But instead of waking up, he groaned, rolled over, and silenced it with a lazy swipe. 5 more minutes, he whispered to himself, unaware that those 5 minutes would soon slip into 15, then 30. Outside, the sun was already rising, painting the sky with soft orange hues, but Arjun didn't notice. He was lost in the warmth of his blanket and the comfort of postponing responsibility. By the time he finally opened his eyes, panic struck him. He rushed through his morning routine, throwing books into his bag, skipping breakfast, and running out the front door with untied shoelaces. His mother called after him, reminding him of his test, but her voice faded behind him. As he sprinted down the narrow street, he collided with an elderly watchmaker, Mr. Rehan, who was sweeping the front of his tiny, old-fashioned shop. Arjun apologized quickly, barely making eye contact, and continued running. Mr. Rehan watched him go, shaking his head with a gentle, knowing smile. At school, things only got worse. Arjun stared blankly at his test paper, heart sinking. He hadn't studied, not because he couldn't, but because he kept saying, "I'll do it later." And now, later, had arrived empty-handed. He left the classroom with disappointment weighing heavily on his shoulders. That evening, feeling defeated, Arjun wandered aimlessly through the streets. As he passed the watchmaker's shop, a warm golden glow spilled from its windows, contrasting sharply with his gloomy mood. Something about the quiet ticking inside drew him closer. He paused at the door, took a deep breath, and stepped in, unaware that this small decision would change the course of his entire life. Arjun stepped inside the small, cozy shop, immediately noticing the scent of polished wood, old books, and faint oil from ticking clocks. The walls were lined with shelves full of watches, some gleaming like new, others aged and worn, but all carefully arranged. Behind a cluttered counter stood Mr. Rehan, the elderly watchmaker, with a gentle smile and wise eyes that seemed to look right through him. "Ah, Arjun," Mr. Rehan greeted warmly, as if he had been expecting him. "Come closer. I have something to show you." He handed Arjun an old, silent pocket watch. Its face was scratched, and its hands refused to move. "This watch has stopped," he said softly. "Not because the gears failed, but because someone forgot to wind it." Arjun frowned, unsure what the watch had to do with him. Mr. Rehan continued, "Time is like this watch. It never stops for anyone, but people often stop respecting it. Each second wasted is a moment that will never return. Hours turn into days, days into months, and months into a lifetime. Use them wisely, or they slip away forever." Arjun listened intently, feeling a strange weight settle in his chest. The watch seemed heavier than it should be, almost as if it carried the burden of all lost time. Mr. Rehan leaned forward, tapping the glass of the counter. "Remember this, young one, your time is your life. How you spend it determines who you become." Arjun left the shop holding the pocket watch, a mix of curiosity, fear, and awe swirling inside him. For the first time, he realized that life wasn't something he could postpone or waste. It was happening now, and every second mattered. Arjun woke up before sunrise, the first time in his life that he had voluntarily left his bed so early. The room was quiet, almost reverent, and the soft light of dawn streamed through his window, illuminating the dust motes floating in the air. He looked at the pocket watch in his hand, its face still silent, yet somehow filled with meaning. A small note tucked inside read, "Your time is your life. Use it wisely." The words echoed in his mind, stirring something deep within him. Instead of reaching for his phone or scrolling through social media, he began his day intentionally. He tidied his room, organized his books, and made a simple breakfast. Every action, no matter how small, felt purposeful. The feeling of control, of being fully present in the moment, was strange yet invigorating. At school, Arjun approached his studies differently. He read his notes with focus, worked on his assignments methodically, and resisted distractions. When he encountered a difficult problem, he paused, thought it through, and solved it step by step. For the first time, he felt the satisfaction of progress born from deliberate effort rather than last-minute panic. Even during breaks, he noticed the world around him, the laughter of friends, the chirping of birds, the gentle warmth of sunlight. Time, he realized, wasn't something to be rushed or ignored, it was a gift that could shape his future if respected. By evening, Arjun felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. The small changes in his day had already created a sense of pride and clarity. He held the pocket watch close, feeling as if it were a compass guiding him toward a new life. From that day forward, he understood the true value of time, and how even a single moment, wisely spent, could begin to transform everything. Days turned into weeks, and Arjun's life began to change in ways he had never imagined. The lessons from the watchmaker stayed with him, guiding every decision, every action. He started valuing his hours like precious coins, spending them on things that truly mattered. Early mornings became his secret weapon, quiet hours of focus before the world awoke. He read books that expanded his mind, practiced skills that sharpened his talents, and even found time for exercise and reflection. At school, Arjun's transformation was evident. His grades improved steadily, and he approached each challenge with patience and dedication. Classmates noticed the change, teachers were impressed. But what mattered most to Arjun wasn't the recognition, it was the growing sense of control over his own life. He felt alive, productive, and purposeful, no longer a slave to procrastination or distractions. Even outside academics, Arjun applied his newfound respect for time. He helped his mother with chores without being asked, spent quality moments with family, and supported friends who needed him. He realized that time wasted on meaningless scrolling or idle complaints was a loss he could never recover. Each minute he used wisely multiplied, enriching his life in ways he had never thought possible. One evening, sitting quietly with the pocket watch on his desk, Arjun reflected on his journey. The weight of lost opportunities still lingered, but he also recognized the power of what could still be achieved. Time was no longer his enemy, it had become his greatest ally. Every ticking second reminded him that life was a collection of moments, and the way he spent them would define who he became. Arjun smiled, feeling a quiet confidence. He knew that this was only the beginning. From here on, every choice, every action, every moment counted. Months had passed since Arjun first stepped into Mr. Rehan's watchmaker shop. His life had transformed completely, he was disciplined, focused, and filled with purpose. Yet, he felt an urge to return, to thank the old man who had taught him the value of every single second. With the pocket watch in his pocket, he walked through the familiar streets, memories of that first encounter flooding back. When he reached the shop, his heart sank. The shutters were down, dust covered the windows, and the familiar scent of polished wood and ticking clocks was gone. A neighbor, noticing his hesitation, came over and explained softly, Mr. Rehan moved away some months ago to live with his grandchildren. The shop is closed now. Arjun's eyes fell on a small wooden board nailed to the door. In neat letters, it read, "Time is the most precious gift. Spend it well." He smiled, understanding that the lesson was never about the watchmaker himself, it was about the gift he had left behind. The pocket watch in his hand no longer symbolized lost time, but a reminder of the life he had begun to build. Every tick that passed from now on was his choice, his responsibility, and his treasure. As he stood there, a gentle breeze brushed his face, and he felt a sense of calm and clarity he had never known before. Arjun realized that life would always offer new moments, opportunities, and decisions, but it was up to him to use them wisely. With renewed determination, he walked away from the empty shop, his steps steady and purposeful. Every second counted, and he was ready. Arjun was no longer a boy who wasted time, he had become a young man who honored it, living fully in each precious moment.